A competitive Bolas' Citadel Welder Saga deck? Yes! Okay, buckle up, get ready for a wild one. This deck is super sweet, and at this point it is actually quite competitive. Now you're probably saying, Tony, this looks a lot like Black Saga Storm. Why are we playing a 6-drop instead of the 5-drop that is ad nauseam? What are the benefits to doing so? Why would I want to do this instead of just playing one of the many ad nauseam Storm decks? The answer is two things, right? Primarily, at least. One major thing is that we're able to play Echo in our deck, and reasonably so, right? I mean, you can with ad nauseam in certain builds, you can, but for the most part, you really don't want a 6-drop in your ad nauseam deck. But with Citadel, it's a bit different, right? It does cost 6 life, but you're casting a 6-drop, okay? When you cast this card through Bolas, you're usually happy to see this card. Because usually by the time you're going off with Bolas, your hand is empty. And not only does this card give you a shuffle on the top, so you get a fresh one, or I guess casting any card is going to give you a fresh one, right? But you get 7 cards. And we're a grid deck at this point. So Echo is just, it's a really good card to have. I would love it if Bullshit Storm, if BSS could play it. I have played it in the past. It's not necessarily bad in that deck. I just don't think it is ideal. In this deck, however, it is actively good. It is very good. It's super good that we can... It plays a few functions. One, it's really good if you hit it off of Bolas' Citadel. 2, you have access to it through your tutors. So if we have low life total, we still have a high velocity engine / high velocity line that we can take, or if our Citadel has been discarded and we can't weld it, or it's been exiled, whatever. So the mana cost restriction isn't quite as steep as ad nauseam, right? We can afford to play these 2-drop grids, and it's not going to hurt us nearly as much as it would in an ad nauseam deck. It might at some point. You do want to keep your overall CMC very low, and we certainly have. But I would also say grid is more important than discard in this deck than BSS, because a lot of times we're bringing it back through the graveyard, which opens us up to a little more interaction than maybe an ad nauseam is going to. So that's one thing. And you might think, oh, one card, big deal. No, it is a big deal. Having Echo Vans in your deck is a very big deal. For the reasons mentioned, but also so that we can shuffle these cards back in if we need to, right? If our Tendrils is in the graveyard, we don't have to freak out. We also have Burning Wish, and again, if our Burning Wish gets discarded, or we discard it to LED, it's not permanently gone. Right, we do have access to something that will shuffle our graveyard, and multiple times if we need, even. The other major thing, or I guess there's 3 things, right? The next one kind of leads into the third, but the next one being, we can cheat it in. So yes, it costs 1 more than ad nauseam, but we have ways to cheat it in. We can weld it in, and it may very well be either free or just cost less, depending on how we're getting it, right? If we have a Lion's Eye Diamond and we're hellbent and we IT for Citadel, and then we use the Lion's Eye Diamond to put it in our graveyard, and then we weld it back, okay, it costs us 2. It's pretty good, huh? If it's already in our hand and we have a Lion's Eye Diamond and active Welder, it's free. Free. Big difference, right? So there are points where it is easier or cheaper to resolve or get active, however you want to say it, than Ad Nauseam itself. And that leads us to the third major thing, which is that if it gets discarded or it gets Force of Willed or, whatever, if it lands in our graveyard, that's okay. We can try to cast it, let it get countered, and then bring it back with Welder. If it's in our graveyard, Welder is now an active draw to get a Citadel. So there's plenty of circumstances in which it is better. So in the event that you can efficiently leverage those benefits, you could feasibly wind up with a deck that is better than Ad Nauseam, or at least comparable, right? So that's what we're trying to do, and I believe I have created a shell that is very good at doing that. You will notice that it is very similar to Black Saga Storm, except that we do have a bit more red because we are running Welder, Synthesizer, and of course the one Burning Wish, which lends us to a similar but slightly different mana base. We can't quite afford to play Soul Lands. I might try a build with Soul Lands. However, if we do, we would probably go up on land count. We can't really afford to replace any of these unless we want to go with no basic, which is an option. But I think we would just go to 17 lands, or maybe go no basic and go 2 Ancient Tombs and a city. But I'm skeptical. It could be good, though. Could be the way to go. Right now we have this configuration. I'm just coming off of a trophy. We trophied on stream the morning before I'm recording this at night. And it felt really good. It felt very good. It has a lot of the same strengths as Black Saga Storm. That being, we are a very good Saga deck. So we have a second angle of attack that our opponent has to respect. They also have to respect Welder, so they need to leave in their creature removal, right? Now, most Storm decks in the past have leaned into the benefit of blanking the opponent's creature removal, but it also makes it very easy for the opponent to sideboard, where they can take out their swords and they can take out all the stuff that targets creatures only, and then they can bring in their hate, and it's a very clean swap. Whereas against something like us, we're more well-rounded, and they may very well have cards that are good specifically against their combo side, but they have to make the difficult decision of trimming on cantrips or taking some of the swords out and leaving some in. It makes their sideboarding very difficult. And it makes their mulligan decisions really difficult too, because they have to choose. They basically have to say, okay, one half of my deck can deal with one half of theirs, and vice versa. So if they open up a hand that only has a bunch of A's to deal with our B's, and our hand is full of they have a bunch of A's to deal with our A's, and our hand is full of B's, well, then we can get them. And we can do this a similar thing as Black Saga Storm, such that we can discard them and discard whichever half we want, right? It is a benefit to us that we can play grid. Sometimes it's a bit more difficult to cast. It does cost 2, although it doesn't care about color requirements, which is helpful since we are a bit more into a second color. But I think it's really important to have this effect over discard for a couple reasons. One, we have opened ourselves up to cards like Endurance that typically were not a problem for us. We didn't really care about before, but since we're welding, it's really helpful to just shut off their hand rather than if we discard them and put them on 1 draw or 2 draws or whatever, we just have a higher chance of dealing with something that can be a pain. Also, since we may very well actually echo in this deck, it's very important to have a grid in play. And they can interact with Bolas in play as well, right? Whereas Ad Nauseam, if you resolve it, you get its entire effect upon or at the end of resolution. Whereas Bolas' Citadel, it's in play, you may cast a spell, and then they might target it and blow it up or bounce it or, whatever. So I think it's really important to have grid instead, which has its pros and cons, but I think ultimately it's really good. It makes our sagas better. Makes it so the opponent, if they want to remove, they can't hold up Force of Will, take a hit from Saga, and then swords the construct at the end of turn, right? They have to face up their creature removal and play into our grid, or choose to take multiple hits. It really taxes them in a way that I think is kind of unique and effective. There really aren't many decks that are playing both Saga and Grid, right? There's some of the, like, Echo Karn decks or Mystic Forge decks, but that's about it. We are, of course, utilizing a Cabal Therapy so that we can get it with a tutor when we need, and it can often be a double discard since we have Saga tokens to work with. We also have Welder, we also have creatures from Synthesizer. We have a lot of synergy with this card. I think it would be a mistake to not play it. And we're playing a couple Thoughtseize. So you might think, ooh, that's pretty light on Disruption, but we do have 4 grids, so a total of 7 is pretty good, especially when we have a higher density of quote-unquote action, right? Threats, things that need to be answered or else we win the game, which function similar to Defense Grid, Thoughtseize, Cabal Therapy. Basically, these are all things that either, if you take a card out of their hand, it's the same thing as them having to use a card to kill one of your things, right? So a must kill is often just as, if not more, disruptive than a directly disruptive piece, right? Often in a tempo fashion as well, because they have to spend the mana and resources to kill it, rather than discard is tempo negative, because we have to spend the mana and resources, or not resources, we're trading resources, but we spend the mana. But otherwise, it's a very similar package as in Black Saga Storm. We have the artifact lands, similar mana base, the 0 drops, 1 less bauble, some discard. Welder and Synthesizer are new, obviously. A little less discard, but we have Grid, Dark Rituals, no Cabal Rituals, and then we're playing the tutor package, House, Tendrils, Echo. So not only do we have 2 routes to a win con, as well as constructs, as well as dealing 10 life with the house, but we also have an Echo to shuffle things back in if we need. So it's constructed in a very sound manner. I've had all sorts of riffraff in the past that I was testing and playing with, and I think ultimately, like, Goblin Engineer was a bit too slow and a bit clunky. If you didn't have a Welder, it wasn't, it couldn't put Citadel into play. You can play Aetherflux Reservoir in this deck, and it was a little better with Engineer, but you can't even use Engineer to bring it in, to put it in. It was really just kind of a value engine, but this deck ultimately wants to be, and is, a turbo Bolas' Citadel deck. It is secondary that it has wins with Sagas, or, honestly, this deck, just like Black Saga Storm, often peers. And it's actually better than Black Saga Storm at peering because it has Echo. So if you have a Tendrils, or you lost your Tendrils, or you lost your Bolas' Citadel, it's whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. We have another engine in peer, and if we hit it, we're going to draw into the cards that will, at the very least, allow us to Echo and, play House and Echo or whatever. There's more engines and fewer and more ways to fix some of the problems that Black Saga Storm had. And that's thanks to Bolas' Citadel as opposed to Ad Nauseam. Ad Nauseam is a very heavy restriction on deck construction. Obviously, the power level's through the roof, and, we forgive you, Ad Nauseam. But here we are with the house. This card is just so much fun. So much fun. Okay. I didn't talk about Synthesizer that much. Obviously, it has synergy. If it leaves the battlefield or comes back in, you get a card out of it. It is an artifact. Sometimes it can be a little bit anemic, But most of the time, the synergy is just so good in this deck that it's great. It's like I'm always happy to draw it. And in other decks that I've tried to play it in, it's always fell flat. It's just so good in this deck. Like, it's very good at swapping back and forth with Wishclaw and Welder, right? You can like hold priority Wishclaw and then weld it out so that they don't get the Wishclaw. And if you flip that into a synthesizer, you get a card from that. Back and forth. If you get 2 synthesizers going, you get 2 cards every time you weld. If you have 2 welders and a synthesizer in each zone, it's insane. You get 4 cards every time you do it. Absolutely wild. And it's really good with the house because it's actually our cheapest way. Oftentimes this is what happens. We have an active house going and we'll fizzle, right? Because there's a land. And then I'll use a tutor, and I'll tutor for tutor. Classic tutor for tutor. But I'll tutor for tutor because I just want to be able to shuffle the top of my library. And the best thing that I can possibly get is the cheapest way to change the top of our library, right? And usually, say we have 5 mana. Tutor in hand, I'll tutor for a tutor, of course. Classic. And then that shuffles the top, plays spells, we fizzle. I'll tutor for tutor again, right? And this kind of is the end of the line because it's the cheapest way to change the top of the deck. Tutor is a good way to continually do it, but then at the end of that is usually synthesizer. So it's really nice. Sideboard pretty similar to Black Saga Storm. We have the Leyline Helm package. I think it just really works really well in a shell similar to this. We have Tendrils and we have Pier as our 2 targets for Burning Wish, primary targets at least. And then we have removal primarily for Oof in Feed the Swarm and Fatal Push. Of course, you can get Feed the Swarm with Burning Wish. It primarily functions as the 4th Fatal Push. It is purely incidental that you can get it with Burning Wish. Not for nothing, it will and does come up. But I will not be leaving it in my sideboard when I need cards to kill creatures. I'm not going to bring it in against like a control deck that might have Deafening Silence, right? I will bring in a Haywire Mite because that I can tutor for. I may wind up Burning Wishing for it in a pinch to try and kill a Deafening Silence against the blue deck, but it's going to be super rare. I'm certainly not bringing it in those spots. I have Bifrost because it's just a really efficient way for a deck that has at least a reasonable amount of red, but maybe not enough to support Shattering Spree, but wants to be able to kill artifacts outside of just a Haywire Mite or messing with Chalice with a Surge Node. This way we do actually have a way to kill Null Rod, but honestly, we probably don't bring this in against any deck that's going to play Null Rod. Sometimes like Mono Red Prism will play a random Null Rod and we would have this card in the deck, but it's nice to have. But yeah, Haywire Mite and Surge Node, obviously this deals with various artifacts and enchantments, namely Chalice, Urza Saga, Trinisphere, Leyline of the Void, Leyline of Sanctity, Serenity. Surge Node is almost entirely for Chalice. And the Stone Brain. So in my 5-0, I'll have to admit, and I'm sure you'll see it, I had Blightsteel Colossus because I didn't read the card well. And I've only played with it in Vintage Cube, and really not that much. Mostly it's just a tinker target. So I've never tried to, or it never dawned on me the fact that it doesn't even hit the graveyard. It's not a trigger. It just, now that I'm thinking of it on Moto, it just enters the effects area and gets shuffled in, right? Meaning, you can't weld it in. Despite Welder being able to be activated instantly, there is no opportunity to weld it in. So really it was sitting there for no reason, just because I am a dummy. I guess you could bring it in against Painter, and then if they painted you, you'd draw that, and then you would guaranteed have Echo in your graveyard, and then you could draw 7 new cards, provided they don't blast you. Not nothing, but certainly not where we want to be. The Stone Rain is probably the one thing I'm just kind of testing. It's a really good card. It has all sorts of application. any Thassa's Oracle decks. We can take Meltdown. We can take Karn. We can take Chalice of the Void. I mean, Chalice will probably come down before we activate this, but I think it's good against Doomsday and it's good against Breakfast, and those are certainly challenging matchups. So it's in there. We're going to test it. We'll see how it does. And at this point, I think we'll just jump into a game here and start welding a house. I don't know what to call. I mean, is this House Welder? House Welder Storm? Weld a house? I don't know. See you in the first round. So, a couple things I forgot to mention, and this is all thanks to Welder. Welder is so versatile. It just adds a ginormous amount of modality. This is something that Mono Black doesn't necessarily have, right? Mono Black, the reason it has been successful, Mono Black Saga Storm, is simply because of Saga, right? Saga allows a win con, some sort of threat that then also replaces itself and continues to work through the deck, right? And Mono Black has to overload, so we look at, has to overload on discard. 4, 8, that's 10 discard, 5 baubles, and then Saga that can replace itself to get itself closer and closer to that win, right? Rakdos, or something more traditional like the Epic Storm or Ad Nauseam Tendrils, they don't play 10 Disruption. They play 7, sometimes 8, maybe even 6, but they play cantrips, which allow them to get that disruption when they need it, and then the cantrips are tutors when they need it, in theory. Obviously, cantrips can whiff, but that's, generally speaking, it's kind of glue that is between the different components of the deck. And Welder kind of acts as that glue. So we can wind up with less overall disruption, right? 4, 5, 6, 7. Because Welder is disruption with Defense Grid. It can weld grid back in. You can put a grid on the stack with an active welder, and their force will isn't going to do shit because you're just going to put grid back in. Additionally, it can get Lion's Eye Diamond. So Welder actually is LED redundancy, and oftentimes is just Black Lotus, right? Gives you +3, which is insane. Or you could even say +6 if you're putting the house directly into play. So it threatens the house, it threatens Black Lotus, it threatens an uncounterable defense grid, it threatens is just a card engine outside of that. It can recycle empty Moxel bowls or petals that you're not going to need. If you have a bauble in the graveyard and a petal that you really don't need, you can always swap it, sack the bauble, effectively cycling your petal. It's just a gift that keeps on giving. Never mind the synergy where we already talked about, where you can activate Wishclaw, hold priority, and then weld it out of play and not even give them a Wishclaw. And you can sacrifice it to Cabal Therapy. You can also attack and block. But I just wanted to mention, because I didn't mention, it was something that wasn't obvious to me until I started playing the deck and realized just how often you're welding Lion's Eye Diamond in and just how free that is. Like, use LED, weld it in, that's 6. That is the 6 mana that is often needed to put behind your tutor to be able to cast House. Or one LED makes an activation of Wishclaw, and the other LED puts the house in the graveyard, and then you weld it in. And welding in grid. Those are 2 huge things. So, now we'll get to the gameplay, sorry. Okay, here we are in round 1. We have won the die roll, and we have an okay hand. I'll keep. Hopefully we can hit a 0 off of this. It is always a bit risky just kind of opening on one of these. Hey, that's perfect. I'm going to bobble to see if I should be putting this into play, and that is the sort of card that has me putting it into play. Ooh, that's the sort of card that makes this matchup a lot better. Now discard's only going to matter so much. You got it, boss. What's it going to be? They take Burning Wish. They exiled the Unmask that we saw. Do you have more? They did keep 7. They've got more. They get rid of Animate Dead. They only have 3 cards left. It could be Ritual, Entomb, plus some sort of reanimation. Yeah. Oh no, it's just more griefing. This I can work with. I don't really even have to go for it yet either. Best draw would be like another Wish Claw. That's not very good. But I will put it into play and pass. Don't think we have to panic just yet. I would love to, at the very least, have a land drop available on my Echo turn. I guess they do have to play things face up. That's really the only upside to Grid. You don't have to play like what if they have Entomb on end step. Okay. Saga is extremely good. Do I want to use this? If it hits a land, I won't be able to put it into play. If it hits Citadel, we no longer have Citadel. I'll be forced to Echo. I think I'm okay with passing. They just have so little resources right now. I want to at least wait until I get another LED off of this Saga. You cannot do this at instant speed. They might not realize it. Although it has Menace too, so I doubt they're going to miss both of those things. We are taking damage when we're ultimately trying to get Bolas' Citadel going, so... But, I don't know. We might just wind up killing them with Constructs instead. They played another land, so they still have, like, nothing. Virtually nothing in terms of resources. We have 4 artifacts in play. You're gonna have 5, 6, 7... Oh shoot, that's an Entomb. That's a Grizzlebrand. And that's an Animate Dead. Alright, let's do this so we can F6. Looks like it's gonna be go time. I mean, they can't really do much with this. They can discard us. I suppose it depends on the build. Some people make them a little more aggressive. I might be eating my words here. This could be Tin Fins. But it doesn't look like it. Archon of Cruelty, no big deal. I mean, it's annoying. Losing three more life is annoying. I don't think it really matters which one we discard. Reef incoming. So we're at 8. It's actually problematic. Maybe we should have gone earlier. I really didn't expect them to make a Grizzlebrand when they had 1 card in hand. Yeah, let's tap this. Go get 2, 3, 4, 5. We can't frontside it. So we go get Lion's Eye Diamond, play Opal. Let's make black red. Make blue with this. Because we have no other blue cards. And let's spin it. Hopefully we don't whiff here. I don't believe we whiffed. Do we have enough mana? We have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If we IT for another petal, we go to 8, go back up to 9, go to 7, go to 6, go to 4. We have exact. Perfect. Perfection. We play that. Play that. Get another petal. Play petal. Play petal. Play opal. Choose this one. Make a mana. Play opal. Choose this one. Make a mana. Go get Tendies. And kill the opponent. Nice. Love it. Absolutely loving it. Now, we get to blindside them with Leyline. They have no idea what's happening because they just saw a Welder. The Stone Brain. Not sure about that one. Okay, so sideboarding is definitely different Then Black Saga Storm. I do want Haywire Might, so I do want to stop Serenity. However, we don't have to take our engine card out, because Ad Nauseam came out because of these massive spells that are going to just wreck us. It is kind of, I mean, they're not good with Bolas, right? But you can pass the turn, and then do it the next turn. If one of these are on top, it would make Welder bad. I mean, maybe I am supposed to do this. But Welder's not even terrible. It's really good with Synthesizer. If you have a Bauble, at least, you can, like, junk some useless Opals. Oh, we don't need Grid. The Stone Brain. Definitely don't want Grid. We could trim one Synthesizer. Trim one Welder. I guess Burning Wish should come out. It's only getting Tendrils, and we have another Wincon with Helm. We'll try this. So we gotta remember, Pier is in the main deck. There's no Burning Wish. Sand is fine. Keep this for sure. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. Nice. Now, as much as I want to get Welder into play, I think Haywire Might's very important. And I'm not even going to Weld. I want to be able to hold up green. I don't want to get hit by Serenity. So literally the reason this card is in here. We're going to end step Entomb just to thin. Or they're going to play where? Uh-oh. Or tear, rather. They're tearing. Tearing it up. Okay. Now I'm wishing I had Welder. That's an Entomb. That's not good. They're griefing. Grief pitching Entomb. Okay. Reanimate Grief. Weird. I feel like it would have been better to just end step Entomb and then reanimate a big one. LED is very good. So is Wishclaw. The LED. Play Welder. Now, if we draw a Mana Source, we can play a house. We did. We can also wait a turn so that we don't give them a Wishclaw. We can also... Oh wait, I can just do it anyways, right? I can make 3 black, activate Wishclaw with priority, swap it with LED, make 3 more, 3, 6, 7, cast house, and then they don't get the Wishclaw. That's pretty good. Alright. We'll priority. We'll swap-a-roo. Make 3 black again. Go get the house. Play the house. That's right, OP. That's a house. Wow, it's a Tendrils. That was a nice one to see with a house in play. Alright. We're gonna have to hold off for a moment. Attack for 1 more. Uh-oh. They're entombing now. At least we have Haywire Might to insulate against Archon, and even gain us some life. And then we have Wishclaw so that we can get a Shuffle and a Tutor. Should be able to kill them next turn. We don't have Burning Wish, so the only way to deal damage is we can house them for 10, or we can Echo, shuffle it back in. They got an Atraxa. Reanimate is shut off, so that's nice. They're not going to attack. I like that. That's a Bauble. That's an LED. Yeah, I'll play a land. Okay, so this is where we tap for black, Weld, Opal, and Wishclaw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would need 4 more permanents. So this is where this is the spot that I was talking about when I was talking about going tutor for tutor a bunch, and then how experimental synthesizer is really good because it only costs 1. So we'll make some mana. We get to tutor. 3, 6. We're 1 shy of Pier. But we got tutor. That'll Welder, Reopal, ooh, Synthesizer, change the top, tutor again. And if we need to, we can always use Haywire Might to gain 2 and to kill the Wishclaw. So I can get Helm. No, I just want to get tutor again. There's only one synthesizer, which we can activate to change the top as well. Let's get tutor. Bobble, that's a peer. Oh man, that's awesome. Who do I peer? You can peer them or us, and we would definitely win the game. Either way. God. Oh, I love it. I love it. Just insanity. Absolute insanity. How do we want to kill them? Should we go with the house activation? Smack me with the house. They want it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hey. They said, hit me, LOL. I want you to do it. Smack me with the house. Alright, what a sweet match. I'll see you in the next round. Alright, round 2 against Burzhuger MTG. And we've won the die roll again. Our opener is reasonable. Not perfect, but reasonable. Once again, I'm going to start with Bobble in order to inform what to do with this Lion's Eye Diamond. That's a Golgari Grave Troll. Okay, so... I think we want to go as fast as possible, so I'm literally going to open Saga, even though we're probably not going to be activating it for tokens. I just want to get to this Infernal Tutor being threatening ASAP. That's not going to help. It does play Welder, actually, which is not the worst. It's not getting nut drawn here. They're going to Cabal Therapy. What do they name here? Dark Ritual? Gamble. A reasonable name. And just passing. This was off a Fetchland Underground. So this is like the blue version, which is good news for us. Let's play Badlands, get one of these Welders into play, and we can make a house next turn. Oh, that's scary. No Dredger. I did get one. No Narcomoeba. Okay, no Narcomoeba. And they didn't hit a Dredger. They've hit all 4 Cabal Therapies, but no way to cast them, which is awesome. They're in trouble. Big trouble. I think we can peer. I'll be honest, this is one thing that I overlooked when building these decks. Welder is a Black Lotus. It creates Black Lotus redundancy provided you have a free artifact to swap a Lotus out with. Or swap a LED out with. So we're going to have 3 mana from lands, 6, 9, and then we can put IT on the stack and swap our vault with another LED. Total of 12. Yeah, that's enough to peer. They could be on main deck Force, but most of these lists aren't. Unless they have Daze, it is free to play Synthesizer. Yeah, let's do that. We'll end up getting 2 cards out of it. Ooh, Petal. Play that one. Let's play Vault. It feels like they're F6'd. Let's go like this. Go like this. Go like this. Swap these. Get a card out of it. Wishclaw. Interesting. Go get Burning Wish. Cast it. Go get Peer. Cast it. Boom. Boom. We're in. We are in it. What do you got? They should have cast this on their turn, because if they hit Narcomoeba, they could have Cabal Therapied. I think, right? Did we... Did we whiff? I should not have Thoughtseize. We might have to Echo here. So we Wish Claw. We have to use it to go get LED. Yeah, we're exactly one short. I shouldn't have discarded. Oh no, I meant to copy. Well, that's okay. Yeah, I messed up. Go black. Go get another LED. Get blue. Spin it. Alright, we're good. We're good. Relax. It's okay. Had it the whole time. Don't you worry. Had it the entire time. Alright, game 2, here we come. Leyline. Helm. Definitely bringing in the Stone Brain. So I guess the question is, if we don't have to take Adnaz out, i.e. Bolas' Citadel out, then... Because the whole thing with Adnaz, with Black Saga Storm, is you take Adnaz out because it's that bad with these cards, right? And you bring in Pier in its place, and if Pier is in the main deck, then you might as well be taking Burning Wish out. But we can just leave Burning Wish in now. So I'm not so sure I want Pier in my main deck. Despite having it last match, I'm not so sure we need to do that. Push, feed the swarm. I feel like sometimes they have Leyline of Sanctity. So Haywire Might is probably good. So what are we cutting? They're bringing in Force of Will, so I want to keep Defense Grid. I want Discard. You can trim one of these. Cut Swamp. Trim Welder. Another Opal. We'll leave Haywire Might out. I'm going to go 61 because I can't choose. They're on 61 as well. That's awesome. I'm actually going to keep this. I think they're going to keep a really slow hand. Oh, and they have Leyline. Well, I wish I had that Haywire Might. I don't think this is a terrible hand against Leyline, though. Yep, Leyline and Force of Wills is what it looks like, and they'll move to clean up eventually. I'm gonna ooh, I meant to play LEDs out. Hopefully that doesn't bite me. Alright, they're still going for nothing. Thoughtseize. Let's play Synthesizer. Land? Black land. Welder. Let's Thoughtseize you. We're gonna force it. I'm fine with that. They're now 2 cards away from moving to clean up. Alright. That's a house. That is a house. How about this one? Let's get these out there. I don't have to worry about Force of Will anymore. I want Dark Ritual. Alright, house is gone. So now our goal is to peer them. 3, 6, 9. So Wish Claw is a good draw. Burning Wish. Leyline is almost a good draw. You hit a Narcomoeba. Welder does not help on this board state. Let's sacrifice this. Wish Claw? I'm gonna put that one in. 3, 6, 10. So we're 4 mana away from peering. That means Saga will eventually get to peer. That means Infernal Tutor gets Saga. I'm getting slapped by the jelly. And we draw land. Getting there. Also, if we draw Leyline, then the following turn we'll just have a win. We're going to upkeep Gaze. Dredge, Icarid, Leyline. Okay. Big draw, big draw. Pedal. 4, 7, 8, 7. Well, if only we had that Pier in the main deck, huh? Can't Echo. We can frontside and Echo, but that's pretty bad. Nope, just gotta keep it going. 4, 7, 8. I need 2 more mana. Ritual, LED. It's the only +2 mana cards. Still no Dredger. Or a second land drop, for that matter. There it is. And... Oh, we're so close. 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 8, 6. We're so close. Alright, do your worst, OP. Do your worst. Or don't, you know. We're getting close to being able to just chain tutors. Or not that close. We can do 6. Alright, Cabal Therapy doesn't really do anything. We can make some zombies, but I don't really care about that either. Come on, baby. Big mana. Let's go. Come on. That's interesting. I think we just want to take all the bridges, right? Would have rather just had mana, but this works. They have another force, but they are stuck under this grid. Force negation. Yeah, they're really not going to have much going on. They got Hogak in their hand. Hogak in hand. They can cast it with Icarid, right? They bounced my token. So now they're going to start getting in. Are we dead next turn? 2, 4, 7, 9. I don't believe we're dead next turn. It's only 1 Icarid. So we would go to 2. If we draw mana here, nice. Now we can just peer. Burning Wish. We get peer. And hopefully not whiff this time. Does not look like we did. Nope. I think we got there. Cast all the spells. Actual all of them. And Tendrils. Nice ley line, by the way. Nice ley line. Alright. We're 2-0. See you in round 3. Okay, round 3. And we've lost the die roll, and this is not a playable hand. This is better. So I'll keep. Bottom Burning Wish. Alright. Putting us to the test here. Playing against Big Bad Delver. Let's go Bobble. Petal. Opal. Swamp. Wishclaw. Bobble you. Island on top, okay. Let's find some protection. Oh boy. That is aggressive. 2, 2, 3, 6. So we have exactly enough for grid, or I'm sorry, discard into house. Grid, we'd have to wait a turn. That is not either of those. But it could be helpful at some point. Possibly. That's annoying. Interesting. Also annoying. Getting in for 3. Okay. I'm just going to pass. Alright. Turning up the heat. Probably going to have to at least Tendrils next turn. Grixis. Welder. It's pretty good if it survives. If we untap with it, do I need these petals? No. So I can go Welder, Petal, LED, and gain some life. Hopefully they do not have additional removal. If they do, we're in trouble. They do. Well, at least it didn't go to our face, but now we have to hope they don't have force and that we draw mana. Yikes. If we don't draw mana, then we have to echo. Hope they don't have force. Either way, we gotta hope they don't have force. Bottomed in Underground Sea. It's a shame we found no permission. 3, 6, 7, 8, 7, so we can play through a daze. We can also wait. We can also frontside echo. I think I want to go now, and I think I want to go for the house. Oh no, we can't go echo, or we can. It just draws them 1 card. That's a good sign. Bottom snuff out. 7, 8, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we could deal 10 right now. If we go IT for Burning Wish for Tendrils. But we going for the house. Yes, we are. Oh my god, it's in. Holy moly. I think I'll spend a petal Cast this one. Ooh. Tuda for Tuda. So hold control. Cast it. Let it resolve. I think I just want mana. At the same time, you don't want to take LEDs out of your deck. Probably still should, though. Oh, man. I just get another one. Almost lethal. Getting there. Hold priority. You want to hold priority because it shuffles the top of your library, and if there's an instant there, namely Dark Ritual, I can cast it with this on the stack. We get another one. Bobble. And that's the ball game. Easy ball game. Echo on top. Wild. We pulled it off. Got the house. Got the house, baby. A Delver. I think I want the Stone Brain. We might be able to snipe Meltdown at some point. And it's also, like, worst case, it's an expensive, like, .cs-ish. Like, we can name Force of Will in some spots. Let's take out Synthesizer. Alright, I can keep this one. They also kept Bobble, Fetch, Pass, Draw. We drew a house. Not the greatest draw. Yeah, let's go Badlands first. End step Brainstorm. Fetch. Playing a 2-drop. Nope. Just pondering. And passing. I like that. No Wasteland. Ooh, I like that. Get to play Grid around Days. Don't spell Pierce. Come on, bro. I was gonna play Vault. But I said, no, I want to get Saga out there. Odds are they don't have Pierce. However, I will say Pierce has been everywhere the past couple of weeks. Everywhere. They have 5 cards. They're making a lot of land drops over there. I would imagine they have Force of Negation. But we have some stuff. It's either Welder or Cabal Therapy. Well, we lose the Meltdown, so I'm going to name that. Got him. Easy game. We would have lost if we didn't make that play. We play around bolts as we get to make a 4/4. Chrome Host Seed Shark. They're getting in for 2, as expected. And they're going to play Seed Shark. Also expected. Well, let's make some constructs. Draw for them. Double Welder. We definitely want to get LED. We know they have a bolt. We can Cabal Therapy. Wind up playing a house. Or we can just try to beat them up with constructs. I think they're both very likely to get there. We could just play Double Welder. I do like having more power. Oh, I do like having Double Welder, though. Yeah. Let's weld it up. Do I want to therapy their bolt? It's a fair question. We won't be able to unless we do it now. It'll save our life total. No. I still want these constructs. Like, even though they can only bolt 1, I still think they're supposed to bolt 1. They might find Snuff Out, in which case it'll feel bad, but I still think we'll be in a favored position with the constructs. So it's not even terrible drawing this. A lot of the times it's you actually want it in your hand. Alright, so they're just going to hold up Bolt. So they can force the action, right? Because I can swap Grid in. Then they bolt the other one. Then I use LED and swap Citadel in. And if they have Cabal Therapy, Surgical, they got me. Probably worth playing Synthesizer first. And they can't even force. And they can still Surgical because they can pay black. Well, let's play Synthesizer. So if it hits a 0-drop artifact, we're just in there. Ooh. Also interesting. Let's Thoughtseize. You're going to force a negation, pitching the Mastermind, so they have bolt plus 1 unknown. This remains a awkward surgical scenario. Huh. Well, let's attack with these constructs. Wait, am I not reading this card well enough? No, they're just jumping. Alright, they take 6. So now they're tapped out of bolt. So now I can swap synthesizer for grid. Oh, we're just in. That's a pretty good one. Now we can make black, swap, and they're off it. Oh my god, this deck is so sweet. Alright, see you in the next one. Okay, here we are, round 4. I'm going to keep this hand. It's a little bit suspect, but it has a lot going for it. Don't generally want to see Underground Sea, having kept this hand. Let's take a peek. You gonna... I thought they were gonna daze a bauble for a second. Consider. So it is Doomsday. So I'm gonna go right for Saga. Need to find a black source for Thoughtseize as soon as possible. LED. Technically a black source. Right, they're passing. Also not a black source. God, it has taken everything inside of me to not have played Great Furnace first. It could bite me, but generally speaking, that's just going to be way too slow. Alright, Grid is in. I'm going to play out this LED. We're probably dead. Wasteland? Deed? What is happening? What just happened? Why are they playing Consider? I guess I shouldn't have played that Great Furnace yet. So they're not Doomsday? I don't know what's happening right now. No clue what's happening right now. So it's a fair bug deck that is just playing Consider, I guess. Stifled their own thing. Just looking to get the game done. I can respect that. So we basically have to draw Echo. Pernicious Deed, dude. We would have been doing some things. Cephalid Coliseum. This is definitely wild. Gross. Pretty much dead? I mean, we're not quite dead yet, but we are getting there. Yeah, they're just on Considers. Full stop. Murktide. Alright, so we have to draw Echo right now. It's not an Echo. Ugh. That was brutal. So this is not a good matchup. These are always miserable. They have Force of Will, they have Collect Roof, they have Spot Removal, they have Sweepers, they have Discard. Like, nothing, none of your resources are ever safe anywhere. Anywhere. Doesn't matter where you put them. Stone Brain could be of use. Just to take Force of Will. Or Collect Roof if it's like the card that we lose to. I think we're pushed into playing Push in some number. And I think that's it. We can cut a Synthesizer. Mox Opal. Yeah, maybe this is too cute. Stone Brain, just a little bit too cute. Okay. 1, 2, 4, 10. So we have a turn 1, if we want to go for it. I think I'm in for it. Turn 1 house, here we come. 2 mana away from a pier. Honestly, even if they keep on 7, I'm going. Because they have a lot of discard, or it's likely they have a fair amount of discard. They might keep a hand that has like turn 1 discard, turn 1 oof, no Force of Will. You keep that. You keep that all day. I guess if they force a Vigor in the right spot, that's going to be a pain. They did not, if that's the plan. Alright, at least they forced here. And they're kind of priced into forcing there, but it's still good for us. Because otherwise, I mean, I guess they're afraid of slime time. Alright, we gotta get something going before we get whacked by Deed. Maybe I should have just gone Ritual Wishclaw. But again, cards are just, they're not safe in your hand either. You land go. Alright. Come on, bro. Come on, bruh. Bruh. Consider. I mean, we could have gotten Saga. I think we gotta go for it. We just give them so much time to, like, they Deed, we lose. They have all sorts of spot removal. That would be a pain in the ass. Come on. Fetching. Brainstorm, consider. No, just fetching and then forcing. Alright, I mean, we did lose, but we'll play it out. 6, 3. No, we did have to crack both of those. We want to find Saga or Wishclaw or Welder. We found Welder. Oh my goodness. So Welder gets Wishclaw, then activates to get LED. We're 2 turns away from a house after getting forced twice. Are they going to bounce Welder? They are. Okay. They Welder. They vault. Now they're going to brainstorm and do something super scary. 3, 4, 5. Still 2 away from house. We're 2 turns away. Uro, bounce your Welder. Maybe they'll forget about Jace. They have 3 cards in hand. Bouncing Welder again. Drew the same card. 4, 5, 6. Well, now we can house if we draw 1 more mana next turn. Nope, they're forcing it. Alright. I'm playing stuff out. I'm not playing around Deed. I mean, we're pretty much dead here. Triple force. Don't worry about it. Triple force over the course of 6 turns. And that's before they started doing all this Uro and Jace crap. Narset is fine. Can I just draw the actual house? Crime and Punishment. That's a discard spell, right? Target creature or enchantment card. What'd they just do? Punishment? We just get punished? Destroy each artifact, creature, and enchantment with mana value X. Great. Oh, so stupid. Alright, we're dead. See you in the final round. Okay, here we are in the final round, and we are on the play against Degen Doc, and we have a... It's a good hand. Okay. We get to turn 1 Thoughtseize, and then we're going to work towards an LED for this Echo, and we do have Grid. We draw a red source, we're cooking. We have plenty of good draws, and we're leading on a basic Thoughtseize. Plenty of good things about this hand. Thoughtseize on the stack. They're gonna force it. Really? Pitching Brainstorm. Okay. That makes me feel like it's Doomsday. But it could be Delver. They only have 1 threat, but they have double force. Sure. Oh, now we gotta hope for no days. Oh, come on, man. Don't do this to me. Not like this. Not like this. Hey! Alright, no Wasteland. No Wasteland and we're in. Most likely. No flip, that's good, but could be Wasteland. Darcy. No Wasteland? No land drop? No land drop, no daze, no force. What is their hand? Just bolts and creatures? Alright. The defense is up. Just gotta dodge Wasteland for 1 more turn. That's Lightning Bolt. They didn't have it last turn, so now they don't have it this turn. We're good. Unless they have a cantrip and they wanted to Darcy first. No, they're just gonna do some damage. And they bottom predict. What do we got? Wishclaw? Yeah, I don't think we have time for a house. We can't house right now, but like playing Wishclaw and passing, we still wouldn't have enough. Giving them a new hand, but we have 2 grids in play, a basic. This is a pretty good spot. 3 redraws. I'm not sure I want to cast this Thoughtseize. We have Saga on top. They have Bolt. Yeah, I don't want to cast that. There's nothing I need to take. I'm just taking 2 life for no reason. Really hope we can come up with a Pier. Saga doesn't help too much. Badlands is pretty bad. Let them draw a card. Got a Brainstorm. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to bobble an F6. Because I don't really care what they have. We have double grid. It's not going to make a difference. And we are likely to only get 1 more turn. As we saw Bolt. So they should be able to string together lethal. I guess there's a world where we're still alive, but Wasteland is annoying. It's probably the best thing they could do underneath grid. Like the only thing they can do. Or play another threat to ensure lethal next turn, but they're probably lethal anyways. Come on, Burning Wish. I don't even think Burning Wish is enough at this point. What the heck? Our top of our deck was just 4 lands. 4 of them. Ridiculous. I mean, I'm just gonna pass. 3, 6, 7, 8. We're still 1 shy of Pier if we hit Burning Wish, if we somehow don't die. Or go down to 1. So it has to be like no Delirium, decide to cantrip instead of Bolt, and whiff. Land, instant, artifact. They have sorcery. Maybe I kept too awkward of a hand. Alright, I'm gonna brainstorm. Looking for a sorcery. If they had it in hand, they could have just fetched before and guaranteed it. Could have guaranteed Delirium plus Bolt if they had a sorcery or creature in hand. You can just put the sorcery on top and then Bolt. But now we're going to be at 1, which means we can't Pier. It means we're probably dead. Yep. Might as well take a look. See how they act. So they had a force. Yeah. The usual stuff. Okay. So I think I just want the Stone Brain. Try and snipe Meltdown before it gets us. And we'll cut one of these. Well, let's go. Alright, here we go on the play. And is suspect. There are good things about it. If it had even just 1 permanent red source, it'd be great. Because if they counter grid, we can start welding it. But we need more mana. This is definitely more mana. I just bottom Petal. And just keep slamming 2 drops, hoping they don't get Wasteland. Could just bottom the Stone Brain. Use Petal turn 1 for grid. Turn 1 grid, turn 2 grid. Stone Brain protects against Meltdown. Could even turn 1 Stone Brain. Nope. I think we want a grid. Get in. Force pitching force, okay. No waste, no waste, no waste, no waste, no waste, no waste, no waste. Right. No wasteland. Darcy, okay. No days, no days, no days. Ritual's good. Hey. So you're saying there's a chance. Probably not. I want Saga. Okay. I will take mana. 3, 4, 5. We're 2 mana away. Let me do the thing. They have Meltdown. Please. Please. Don't do it, OP. They're doing it. I guess we're not. Yup. I'm so stupid. Well, I beat Delver earlier today in my 5-0 stream. But it's pretty rough when they... I mean... I don't know. Here, chain me. Really? Wonder if it's still bugged. Last time I did this, it copied and hit me. It's not bugged. Really? Okay. We're getting in for 3. Oh my god. It's brutal. Right? If I can draw LED into Burning Wish, then we're good. 1, 2, 4, 7, 8. Yeah. Has to be LED. Can't be Petal. Can't be Ritual. Putting Force of Negation on top of Mystic Sanctuary. That's not good news. Welder is good. So I'm gonna play LED now. I should have played it before Welder. Swear to God, their last card is Daze. And they didn't Daze. Okay. I mean, we have Witchclaw here. Do we have it next turn? Do we have a house? We'll have 1, 2, 3, 6. No. Well, then we're 1 away. Oh, they got a bolt. Really? And you have a Force of Negation. How perfect. Literally have everything covered. And we go to 3, and they have a Force of Negation. And they have a bolt anyways. Okie dokie. Alright. Back to the list. Okay. So keep in mind, I trophied this morning, and then... Oh, I'm getting a message from them. So I trophied this morning, and then we cruised through the beginning of this. But then... Hold on, I'm going to go back and see what we played against. I forget in the beginning. Okay, so we beat Reanimator, which I played against twice in the Trophy League this morning, so we're pretty darn good against Reanimator. And then we played against that goofy Dredge deck. Well, it's not goofy, it's pretty good. The blue Dredge deck with like Force Wills and stuff. So we're pretty good against graveyard decks. Obviously, we have ley lines. I don't even think we wound up using the ley lines all that well, if at all, against Dredge. But we got there. And then we played against... Oops, sorry. Then we played against that, like, Tempo Grixis deck. So not too bad against Tempo. 2-1 across the 2 leagues that I played. Beat a Delver player, we beat the Tempo Grixis, and then we just got high rolled by Delver there. Sometimes Delver is just going to have an unbeatable hand, like every single card just lines up perfectly. It's going to happen. They have cantrips to smooth it out, it happens. And then Bug is just, it's always going to be a tough matchup, right? I'm so glad that Bug has not really been a consistent thing for a while. Because like I said, there's nowhere to put your resources to dodge anything. I guess overall, I feel like they've come off discard more. So I think I'm actually supposed to hold things more often than I have been. We just got swept, right? We got swept by Pernicious Deed. We got swept by Brotherhood's End out of Delver. There's not all that much we can do about that sort of thing. It's one of the reasons why more discard in Black Saga Storm is really effective, but still only so much. Like, you can't, they can brainstorm in response and then just get you. They can do all sorts of cantripping on their own turn and just find these things. Like, discard is certainly an imperfect answer. It's a weakness. Most decks have them. And maybe we can come up with a way to mitigate those weaknesses, but ultimately, when something is just naturally bonkers against your deck, it's usually an indication that you shouldn't have a huge reaction to it, right? Because if you do an analysis there, you're just not getting... If something is that good against you, you generally speaking, have to do too much, change too much, diminish too much, whether it be in your main deck, sideboard, overall construction, whatever it is, to make up for that, right? Mono Red Prison is a good example. There are things that we can do in Storm decks to make that matchup better, but it only makes it so much better, right? You really still don't even get that many points, and you'd really have to dig in deep. But generally speaking, I feel like the deck has been running smooth. I think I had a couple of bad keeps in the last couple of rounds there too, which didn't help. So maybe I gotta be a little bit more willing to mulligan. But Goblin Welder really has just increased the modality. It feels like a cantrip, just an absolute powerhouse. I love it. From a deck construction point of view, it just makes draws so much smoother. Maybe I need to go up a red source. There are a couple times, where we didn't have the right fixing. We could also play a couple fetches over like an artifact land or something, but those are so good. I don't know. It's tough to say. I think occasionally you're just going to have mana problems, right? It's Magic. It happens. You don't want to react more than is appropriate when it comes to building decks. Just because something happens doesn't mean you need to make a change, right? So we'll keep dialing back in. I can tell you overall, this list, and the sideboard is probably the most imperfect thing about it, but it's because of Black Saga Storm, we have a lot of just kind of like the Leyline package is a mainstay. Tendrils and Piers a mainstay with the Burning Wish. I think Push and Feed the Swarm mainstay. The only things that are changeable for me is Byforce, Haywire Might, Surge Node, and Stonebrain. And I think Haywire Might and Surge Node have just kind of earned their keep with any sort of Saga Storm deck. So really, for me, it just comes to Byforce and Stonebrain. Stonebrain probably needs to be something a bit more serious, and Byforce might be the right call. We'll see. But this list is as a result of too much brewing, testing. It's probably been 2 weeks since I know it's like a phrase that people say, like, oh, I woke up thinking of X, or I woke up and wanted to do X. I literally, one morning, just woke up and my brain said, let's play with Welder. I need a house. I need to weld a house. And just, I've had fun with the combo of Welder and Talisman. It's just been in my brain ever since that day a couple weeks ago, just like pretty much at all times. If I'm not trying to brew and theory craft with this at my computer, I'm doing it like while I'm walking around and shit. But you can see here's a dimmer version. Here's Grixis. Here's a mono red. Some of this is like unfinished. I need to take these Blightsteals out. There's Belcher versions that are only running 2 land and running the imprintables and running Chrome Mox. This is actually where it started. And I mean, there's a couple more similar welder lists in this list of lists. But really, it came from a combination of Black Saga Storm and these Belcher brews that I've been making. Let's see. Yeah, it's Black Belcher. Basically, I want to make Black-Red Belcher. And I was calling it Welder-Belch. Welder-Belch? And it got to the point where I realized, because Welder wasn't even in it, right? So we have Goblin Engineer here. The benefit of this is you don't even have to play. It's in there, but a lot of times you just win with Belcher instead. Of course, the downside is these lands hurt, and this costs life. Of course, the upside is actually, I've noticed that if you resolve this card in this shell, you win 100%. Because you can cast these with no targets. You just get through your deck. You would think that you're going to hurt yourself too much, but the cards that you hit just win you the game. Like these, obviously, you just tear through. You get all sorts of real estate. But as soon as you hit like a tutor, they're free, man. You don't have to pay for them. It costs 0, you know? And you already have all this mana on board. So it gets wild quick. And it's good. I enjoyed this deck. I thought it was good. Very good. I have not updated this style list since tuning the one that we just played further. It's probably also worth exploring a fetch land mana base, but then you don't have much for artifacts for Welder, and you have to dig into baubles more. It's a delicate balance to play with, but I think there's something really powerful here, and I think we're really close. So, I'm going to keep jamming it, I'm going to keep making content on it, and hope you enjoy it and appreciate it. Don't forget to point anything out in the comments that you saw or think of, maybe that I'm missing or whatever it is. And I'll see you in the next one.